All right, welcome to the Rare Coin Show, a special edition by request on the Flying Eagle Cent.
Yeah, this is episode 28. We're going to do it on the 1856 to 1858 Flying Eagle Cent. We had a special request actually from our buddy on Twitter.
Yes, our friend CW Bullets and Coins or something like that. I know the @ symbol is @Arrowhead Broken. So our good friend that we met on Twitter, he is the founder of Saturday Night Coin Show. He and a bunch of other people. He'll never take credit for it. And I'm adding this disclaimer because every time I try to, he's like, no, it was a bunch of us. So but you and all them. How about that?
Right, but he asked for a little show on something pre-Civil War, so we thought, well, we're going to keep it close. Something that was minted in the years right before the Civil War. It's actually the Flying Eagle Cent that took over the design from the traditional large cent.
Yes.
Yeah, the braided hair cent, I guess, right?
Yes. Braided hair might be what they call them in the Red Book and stuff, but I think everybody calls them large cents, right?
It's just a large cent. Right?
Yeah. It is tons of copper, really big. Imagine that, a big cent that's also called the large cent. Who would have thunk it?
Shocking.
But it is a very popular coin in our market. I think we should just take a moment and explain that is a coin that a lot of people collect that aren't necessarily hardcore collectors. They don't get graded coins.
Right.
They just build year sets or complete sets of large cents. They have a huge following in our market. They're incredibly popular.
But if you're a type collector for copper, if you're somebody who's getting one of every series of a cent of the copper cents in our country, it is a must-have.
Yeah.
It originally was intended, or most people view it as a pattern type coin, especially that first year of 1856. Most of the just over 2,100 pieces that was originally minted were all for dignitaries and to be passed out to Congress for approval and design.
Politicians.
And who designed it again?
Foreign leaders. It was a collaboration between Christian Gobrecht and James Longacre.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So it was Gobrecht who originally designed the eagle. Is that how I understood it?
Yes. And then Longacre designed the elements on the reverse that were also on the $1 and $3 gold pieces. So we'll go ahead and include the reverse of the Flying Eagle Cent, the $1 and the $3 piece, so you guys can compare them all and see how similar they are.
Right.
And the Gobrecht part was something that he drew for silver dollar that was 20 years earlier for a pattern that was never used, and we'll show that on the screen as well, so you guys can kind of see where all the elements came together for this coin.
And like other coins that Longacre has been involved with, it as well had some relief issues.
Yes.
It had some problems with stacking of the Flying Eagle Cent because he had a tendency to use kind of a higher relief and a higher collar, if you will, on the coin. So they didn't stack well. It was kind of synonymous with Longacre's coinage, but again, very beautiful. I think nobody could argue against the visual appeal of the Flying Eagle Cent. Extremely attractive.
I mean, yeah, he was a true artist. There's no doubt. Another issue is there was problems with the dies. The dies would get off kilter. They would basically either strike the relief flatter on the obverse than it should have been, or the reverse. So they eventually had to change it, but the 1856 Flying Eagle Cent had a really popular run right out of the gate.
Oh yeah. No, everyone wanted a coin. That's why in 1857 they ramped up production of it. It was the very first year that any penny had more than 10 million coins minted. They minted over 17 million Flying Eagle Cents the following year. So obviously it was popular. They really thought it was going to take off, if you will.
The Flying Eagle Cent was gonna take off?
It was gonna take off.
This guy, you're killing me, bro. But the idea was, in all seriousness, what had happened is Spanish coinage had run rampant throughout the U.S. economy. It was a major player. The James Ross Snowden, the mint director, had developed a strategy with Congress where they would actually take the Spanish coinage out of circulation, melt it, recoin it into US coins. So a lot of those coins that were made later than 1858 in the US were from recast Spanish metal.
Right.
And so what had happened is part of the plan was making the US cent smaller, more efficient to produce. They changed the metals content. That's where the idea for the Flying Eagle cent came from. And so what they did is they developed a program starting with a release where the mint actually asked people to come in, bring their large cents.
And this was the Coinage Act of 1857?
It was a Coinage Act of 1857.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but basically they had said, we want to compete with the Spanish currency. We want to get it out of our economy.
Flush it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
What they wanted to do is increase faith in the U.S. currency, not necessarily only for the metal content, but for the thoughts about America's wealth and prominence and economy and all that kind of stuff.
And what better imagery than a big, bold eagle emblazed on the obverse of the coin?
It's gorgeous.
It really
is. So the Flying Eagle cent was popular right out of the gate. I mean, they did that May 25th release in 1857. There was 1,000 people lined around the block of the U.S. Mint to trade their Spanish.
Yeah, it was epic.
Spanish silver and American large cent copper.
I wish we were there.
And I sort of do, but I sort of don't, because there was only 2 tellers helping those 1,000 people. How many hours do you think those people had to wait?
It was probably a nightmare, especially during that day. They probably didn't have, vendors and coolers that were lining the streets with with bottles of water.
They said it was a wooden, basically like a wooden desk. So almost as if you'd built some wood like infrastructure around John and I, and then lined 1,000 people around the building.
But if you were forced to change your coinage out, that way you'd have something that you could actually spend again back into the public. That's what you had to do. And if you had some coins that were no longer being accepted by merchants, and unless you swapped them out with these other ones, they were.
Well, they said Spanish currency was no longer money. They actually demonetized it by act of Congress.
Right.
Said you can exchange it, but you can't use it to trade.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, imagine that. Our government wanting to get rid of a competing currency.
I'm just surprised.
Shocked. This is my shocked face. Okay, so the Flying Eagle cent was popular back then. It has been hoarded throughout the ages. In fact, out of the 2,100 coins struck, there was a very famous Colonel John Beck who had hoarded 531 pieces.
Incredible.
Out of the 1,800 to 2,100 struck, somewhere in there is likely.
He was a coin collector.
Maybe just a little bit.
Just a little, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just amazing to think that he owned a third or a fourth of them at one time.
It's pretty epic.
Since then, many people have hoarded them. They've collected them throughout the ages. It has been one of the most popular designs in U.S. coinage overall. Certainly for pennies,
oh my gosh, yeah.
It's definitely one of the top pennies that's ever been produced.
Yeah, it's got to be the center of most copper collectors' collections, or like Ryan said, like right up there. And at one point, it may not be now, but I know at one point it was considered one of the 100 greatest U.S. coins.
It was in at least a couple editions, maybe several. I don't know. Yeah. But it speaks to the popularity of the coin today.
Absolutely. It really does. It really does. So please feel free to ask us any questions about it. We'd love to hear your feedback, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
And we do have the Vienna Philharmonic giveaway contest going on, where if you share one of our any of our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you share us. If you go ahead and subscribe to our new YouTube channel as a first-time subscriber, that's an entry.
Tag a friend, that's an entry. If you DM us your email address, we have a cool newsletter coming out where we're gonna have our Medium blogs running through there, so make sure you send us the email address. That's an extra entry. We know you want to get this Vienna Philharmonic. We want to send it to you guys, so please.
Yeah, and so any of those things is one entry. We're gonna add them all up, put it into random.org and let it decide. But it's a pretty cool coin. We'll show it to you on the screen again. Make sure you follow us on all those channels, and we love to interact with you guys. It's so awesome when we get comments and likes. We really appreciate that.
It really is. It really
is. It makes it a lot more fun for us. And
we love the community, so keep sharing.
Yeah, and please subscribe. Here's the button somewhere around here. Yeah, go ahead and smash that button. Smash the like button.
Cool.
We love you guys. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
Oh yeah? Well, I did it first.
And you hit your knee.
Boom.
So.
Yeah, that was smooth.
Yeah,
that was very smooth. I'm a smooth operator.
To live with
That's what my wife always says.
Is your coffee catching up to you yet?
No.
Okay, mine is.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Are you getting a little hyper, dude?
I remember when we met that night, listening to music that fit just right. Told me your name and I told you mine. Stayed up talking till we saw sunlight.